Rebel in the RYE stars Nicholas Hoult and is the biopic about the author, J.D. Salinger, who is the writer of Catcher in the Rye. And this movie is about his life as he is inspiring to be an author, his life during World War II, his life post-World War II, and how he became the man who wrote the famous book Catcher in the Rye. Now before I start with this review, let me just say some things. Yes, if you can't tell, I'm in a different setting. This is my college dorm room, so here you are. This is where I'm living for the next couple months. And two, I saw this movie at a pre-screener, but it was a kind of different pre-screener. This movie's coming out in September, but I saw this movie 3 months ago in June. Now 6 months before that, this movie premiered at Sundance. Now in between that time, from Sundance to when I saw this movie to when it's actually being theatrically released now, this movie probably changed over time. I don't know how, because I'm not going to see it again, but just saying, from what the version I saw 3 months ago may or may not be the same as what you saw in January or what you're seeing now in September. Full disclosure, it may not be the same, but I won't know that because I'm definitely not seeing this movie again. Now you probably don't know this, but I'm not a huge fan of biopics. I feel like a lot of them are just the same thing over and over again. It may be a different person being the focus of the movie, but a lot of them have the same beats or cliches with a parent figure that looks down on the kid or a relationship that doesn't end up working out. And Rebel in the RYE fits exactly in that position. This movie is unoriginal, but it just follows the same beats as every single biopic that you have seen before. And for someone who doesn't really like biopics, this really ruined the movie for me, and honestly, I just did not care. This movie easily could have been a straight-to-TV movie. It could have been a Lifetime channel movie. Its presentation is extremely lazy. The cinematography, the sound, none of it is inspiring. It is extremely bland. It's not bad per se, but it's just there. Since a lot of this movie does take place in 1920s, I can say that since I do like the 1920s design of clothes and costumes, I did like that aspect of the movie. It did have some nice clothes and designs, and I did like the feel of it during the 20s, but even that just seemed like it just fell flat and it was uninspired. It really felt like it was just lazy and cheap. The director of this movie, Danny Strong, this is his first movie as directing, and you can really kind of see that in this. By far the best part of this movie is the acting. Nicholas Hoult as J.D. Salinger. I like Nicholas Hoult, and he does here a fine job. He doesn't do anything extraordinary, but he doesn't really do anything else that's awful. He's just there. It is fine. But by far the best part about this movie is Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey is J.D. Salinger's teacher back in the 20s when he is inspiring to be a writer, and along the road Kevin Spacey's character keeps on persuading J.D. Salinger to pursue this character of Holden Caulfield that he keeps on writing and eventually fully write Catcher in the Rye. Kevin Spacey's a great actor. I love a lot that he does, and he is the best part about this movie. But the problem is, since he is so great in the first 40-45 minutes of this movie, during the last hour of this movie, his character is completely disposed of. You barely see him. His plot line goes from a major importance into the film to like nothing, and since he was the best thing about the first part of this movie, his lack of appearance in the second part really made this movie drag. And yeah, this movie dragged. It's extremely slow. This movie was fine in the 20s, and then the war scene happened during World War II. You see what J.D. Salinger is going through. Everything after that is extremely dull. It is boring. This movie goes from nicely paced to just slow drag. I really want this movie to be over. This movie's runtime was a little bit under 2 hours, but it felt so much longer than that. This movie just felt extremely lazy, and it didn't need to exist. And I don't know what they were thinking, but this movie, after World War II, I don't know what it is, but there are so many fades. It's like annoying. I don't know what the hell they were doing with those fades, but it just had to stop. I would recommend this movie if you are extremely interested in the life of J.D. Salinger. But if you really don't care about his life, even if this movie's on a rainy Saturday evening and you have nothing else to do, even then, I would not recommend this movie. It is lazy, it is uninspired, it looks cheap, the acting is fine, Kevin Spacey has a great performance. There's nothing really more to this movie. It doesn't reinvent the biopic wheel. It is the same beats in a biopic movie you've seen over and over again. It is tired, it is lazy. Rebel in the RYE isn't a horrible or just a bad movie, but it's just there, and I can say that Rebel in the RYE is meh. So that's Rebel in the RYE. Have you seen the movie? Have you not seen the movie? Whatever you think, you can put in the comments below, and maybe I'll read it, maybe I won't. Thank you as always for watching. If you haven't, you click my last video right over here, and you can click my upcoming video right over here. That's right, do I have another secret review that you don't know about? Thank you as always for watching. Hope to see you next time.